What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show. Welcome to Wednesday afternoon. This is the Bourne Ultimatum on Action Movie Anatomy. I'm here with my co-host, Andrew Ghai. We're going to break down the thing for you, share our fist pump moments, our favorite lines, everything you want to hear. Hang out with us. We'll see you in just 1 second.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Action Movie Anatomy.
Boom! What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Welcome to Moby Separate Ways.
Strange things are back again.
We've sung this song before.
We've been here before.
We've done this dance before. This is Action Movie Anatomy on the Popcorn Talk Network, guys. We're the online broadcast network talking movies and all things movie related, and this is the premier action movie show on the network. I would go as far as to say the premier action movie show in the world. Around. Ever.
Do not quote me on that.
I am Ben Bateman. I'm your host. My boy Andrew Ghai. He's wearing his cornflower yellow. Is that a thing?
Cornflower blue tie.
Did you make that up?
Cornflower yellow. It is. I did make it up because I got it mixed up with a different color. But I'm wearing my cornflower yellow. Got some black on. Ready to do this.
And
This
a
is
tie
the
clip.
second time I've seen this movie.
Only the second.
Only the second time.
I was surprised that you that your opinion of this movie when you were talking about it on the phone was not as glowing as mine.
Yeah, I honestly was shocked as well and kind of disappointed in myself.
Yeah, I love this movie. Oh, there's our tweet. I'm gonna retweet our tweet. I love this movie. This is my favorite of all of the Bourne movies. I'll go out right and say it. And I've said that kind of from the beginning. There was definitely a quality to Bourne Identity when we did it recently on the show. We actually did that. You guys can go find that episode. It's probably from a few months ago. There was definitely a quality to that movie when I watched it that I was reminded, as much as I like this movie, it's like Bourne Identity is a very important movie. Bourne Identity is an iconic movie in the way that this movie is just the best representation in my mind of what this kind of style is.
That's kind of how I feel about Dark Knight and Batman Begins. I think that Dark Knight is the best representation of what we want out of a villain and a hero in a good, superhero action movie, like a real one. But I think Batman Begins tells such a more important story.
Sure.
It's better acted. Liam Neeson is so good in it.
Yeah.
That's why, even though I think Dark Knight is my favorite,
Yeah.
I do think Batman Begins is the best.
We've had this argument.
We have.
Once or twice.
But
But
been here before.
So, before we get into the full breakdown of the Bourne Ultimatum, the third film in the Bourne franchise, we should remind everybody that, of course, we do action movies on this show. We talk about action movies that have been made after 1981. That's not a hard and fast rule. It just happens to be what we've stuck to for the first 55 or so episodes. Those 4 rules that the action movies we do on this show fit are: rule number 1, the hero always plays by their own rules. Rule number 2, the hero and the villain are always the smartest people, beings, things, dinosaurs, what have you, in the room. Rule number 3, the movie is driven by a police, military, political, or mercenary figure. And rule number 4, there's at least one explosion. Now, did you know that there was only one explosion per Bourne movie? There's exactly one explosion per movie.
So the first one is when he shoots the propane tank.
Of the 3 movies. The first 3. Not of the Renner movie.
The second one, I know there's one in there somewhere.
I can't remember it. He shoots the propane tank in the first one to scare off Clive Owen.
Yep.
I haven't seen the second one in a few years.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We'll do that soon. And in this one, it's the bomb.
Right, the one bomb by the car.
In
that
Tangier.
part is so sweet.
Yeah, it's really good.
Because he knows he's being followed.
Yeah.
So it's just far enough.
And he leaves the bike.
It's great.
Yeah, it's sick. Smart writing. It's our boy Tony Gilroy.
It really, that's one thing, and we'll get into this in my thesis statement, is this is the cleanest. The Oscars will let you know. This is the cleanest version of all the Bournes. It's the most fine edited, the sound editing, everything.
Yeah. So we are going to be doing a couple things differently today on the show, guys. We're changing around some of the segments because this is the second Bourne movie we've done, because this is a kind of a newer movie in a lot of cases. We've done some of the old segments a lot of times. You'll see we're doing a few things differently. One thing I do want to let everybody know is that for next week's episode, we are not going to be doing a hard and fast pitch like we normally do.
Right.
We're actually going to be taking pitches from you guys, the audience. What movies do you want to see us do? There's a lot of movies that get thrown around a lot. We've heard options like The Raid Redemption. We've heard options like Roadhouse. True Lies comes up a lot. I feel like The Long Kiss Goodnight has come up a number of times. But there's a lot of movies that people like to throw in, and we are pretty much willing to do whatever. So the deal is going to be, you guys should get on Twitter. If you're not on Twitter already, get on Twitter now.
Yeah, I had to get on Twitter for this show, so you guys should have to get on Twitter for this show.
Exactly. The podcast is at AMA Podcast. I am at Ben Bateman Media.
And I am at Andrew Ghai. And like Ben said, get on Twitter and go post on the wall, because any movie, it's not however many gets the most votes. It's nothing like that. If there's one that gets 10 and all the rest of them are 1, we'll probably do that one. But if there's 20 different movies up there, we're just gonna pick one.
Yeah, that's the plan. So legitimately, guys, go find us on Twitter, start an account. Everybody has to do that the first time when they want to follow somebody they like or be a part of something that they want to be a part of. You have to start the account. So go start a Twitter at AMA Podcast and follow us, and then let us know at the end of the show which one you want to see. We will maybe we'll see what like the top options are.
Yeah,
and we'll post them on a little poll on our Twitter midweek.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how we're just kind of wing it.
Winging it. We're gonna wing it.
Wang it.
Wang it.
We'll wang it.
So
I love Alfred Finney made an appearance.
he still had it together in this one.
He did. He's
Barely.
not quite gone yet.
What
movie was it where he was just gone?
Legacy.
Legacy.
The flashback
Oh
scenes in
my
Legacy.
God.
The flashback scenes in Legacy are like painful to watch. He's like standing there in the corner holding a glass of scotch, and it's like, this guy is the top. He's the lead member of the CIA, and he's just like standing with scotch, being like,
And I'm like sitting there drinking my scotch. And I'm like, fuck, that's gonna be me in 30 years, 50 years.
try to say like, I remember the party.
I was ready blackbrow.
Wow.
Those are not bad.
All right, things we just did.
Albert Finney, I think, would be
Impressed?
he'd be impressed.
Yeah, he would be impressed. No, I'm going to stay. He'll go to the training wing.
Neither of you
I
sound
just
like
wanted-
me at all.
I just wanted to know.
Our fans on audio were like, "Will they shut the fuck up?"
We'll put an addendum at the beginning of the episode if you guys would like to skip the shenanigans. No, all right. So that's where we start, guys. That's what you should do. You should get on Twitter and follow us along. Of course, rate, review, give us a high rating in iTunes. It helps us stay high in the standings and to continue to provide free content, which is what we would like to do, and we are not going to do anything but that. So for us to be able to do that and not have it cost the network money, it would be great if we could stay high in the standings. So please rate and review. You guys have been great at that. We're approaching 6 million views on this show. So
Are we not past yet?
6 million?
Yeah.
I didn't check.
Yeah,
recently.
we're right around there. Either way, that's a lot. That's a lot of people.
A lot of people have watched the show.
Yeah.
So, that being said, let's get into it, man. Let's get into it, guys. Let's start the show off. The way we like to start this show off is by watching the trailer. So, let's do it.
No way. I don't remember this one that well.
Yeah, me neither.
So the bad guy's Noah, whatever, right? He's the main bad guy. He's got to be.
Noah Vosen.
Yeah.
Strathern. His identity erased. His loved one murdered.
Oh, that was so sweet.
This is the one I've seen the least. The second one?
Yeah, that's the one I've seen the most.
Really?
Uh-huh. And I still don't remember that. I think I've seen Identity the most.
I feel like this one is the one I watched the most.
Someone started all of this. And I'm gonna find them.
This is Jason Bourne, the toughest target that you've ever tracked.
That is pretty sweet when
He's
she
really
comes
good
in
at
and
staying
just like
alive.
goes in on
Trying
everyone.
to kill him
Yeah.
and failing.
She finds him immediately.
Just pisses
9
me
hours
off.
behind track. The toughest target you've ever tracked. That smooth flips.
Yeah.
Pretty sick.
That guy was sweet. Both the assassins were pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, the one guy, Edgar Ramirez, is the guy that ends up playing he plays Bodhi in the Point Break remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pamela Landy.
I hear you're still looking for me.
Bourne?
Trace is confirmed invalid. He's within 1,000 yards of this building.
Listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. I remember everything.
Hyped. Stoked.
Yeah. That's kind of a weak trailer, to be honest.
Yeah, it is, because it feels like when it ends is when it should just be kicking into gear.
Yeah, it's also like, what's this, like, that trailer's 07, so, like, this is, like, sort of right around the time they started to get good, I think, overall. Like the real trailer, or, like, Revolution was, like, right around that time.
Yeah.
So it's still kind of the front end. I think they hadn't quite figured out that, like, the way that those newborn trailers look is much sweeter.
Yeah. Oh, God, the newborn trailer is so sweet.
So sweet. The one shot of just him just knocking the guy out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I don't even know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, they're, like, out in the middle of the desert in a fighting circle.
Yeah. That's what Bourne does.
Doesn't matter. That's where he hangs out.
He's basically just like Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins.
Yeah.
Can just kick anyone's ass.
Yeah, because he's not a superhero. He just
Yeah.
really seems like one. Yeah, the new trailer looks so good. Like the driving the car in the street and
Can't
Vegas.
wait.
Oh,
Can't
awesome.
wait. Yeah. So that's a pretty good trailer. It's not a great trailer. It's funny, right? You think about when this movie came out, and so we were the same age when Bourne Identity came out. And we've talked about it. If you watch that episode, you'll see we have the amount of like love for that movie as kids when we saw it.
Yeah.
It really sticks with you. And that's why when I watched it again for this show and I was really analyzing it and doing the research, it was just like, wow, like this movie had a major effect. It was incredibly impactful, much in the way that we talk about the generation of action movies that we grew up loving, so the Terminators and the Predators and the Con Airs and the Face-Offs, and that around 03 is when people wanted a more serious movie. They didn't want it to be so campy.
Right.
It's exactly when Bourne was launched. It was following up the campy James Bond movies.
And it was perfect.
It was perfect.
And because there was nothing else. You're right.
Yeah.
It was following up the corny James Bond movie because Casino Royale was made in 2006, I think.
Exactly.
And then MI3 was made in 2005
or 6.
right?
05, yeah.
So there was nothing to watch. Like there was no good superhero. I mean,
spy movie.
super spy movie.
Yeah, that's
or
what
franchise. I mean, like the Jack Ryans. No one really got into them that much in the 2000s.
Well,
and
those
late
were the
90s.
bad ones. The Sum of All Fears was not good.
Yeah. Paycheck.
Was that a Jack Ryan movie?
Just love it.
Paychecks.
Anytime I can talk about it.
So I think that's so interesting that when you look at this trailer, now this is a few years later. Now we're 4 years. I guess did Bourne 1 come out in 01 or 03?
01.
Was it 01?
Pretty sure, yeah.
For sure. 01 or 02 maybe.
I think
Something like that.
02?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But whatever it was, I think it might have been 02, 04, 07. That sounds right. So I think it's really fascinating when you think about this movie in 07. I remember this coming out. This one I didn't see in theaters.
Same. I saw the other two in theaters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is the best one to me.
Yeah.
And it's reviewed the best. This is the one that
it's
won
in the top
Oscars.
250. It's 8.1. Like this is, it won 3 Oscars. The other ones weren't even nominated.
It's
for
kind
anything.
of remarkable, and it's funny too. What I was going to say. Shall we just get into our thesis statement about this film?
Yeah, let's get into it because I think that's really going to carry on throughout this whole thing since they are so vastly different.
Yeah. So, guys, what we do here on the show is we have something called Thesis Statement, and this is kind of the moment in the show where Andrew and I are going to come up with a bold thought. Just a bold statement, something that really sells your opinion of this movie, where it stands in the pantheon of history. It should usually be rooted in hyperbole. The greatest this, the best this, the only this, the first this. We don't like loose ones, like this is my favorite movie. Or
Yeah.
I guess in that, if it was that extreme, it could work.
Yeah.
But if, this is my favorite Matt Damon movie, is not good enough.
Or this is one of my favorite moments in any spy movie.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Clean it up.
Yeah, exactly. Clean it up. So
I want to go first because I think mine's so different than yours.
Yeah, go ahead.
So mine is, despite this being the best produced of the three, I'm talking sound editing, film editing, everything. It's clean, the script, everything is clean. Despite it being all of that, it is the worst Matt Damon Bourne movie.
See, I just find that fascinating.
I do too. I was shocked. Like, I remember watching it a long time ago, and when I said I'd only watched this movie twice, it's been more like 3 or 4 times, but always in chopped up bits on cable. So I've watched it the one time the whole way through, 2 or 3 or 4 times on cable here and there, and then last night again I watched it from beginning to end. And the beginning sequence in the train station when he's on the phone with the reporter is sweet.
Yeah,
it's classic Bourne. But for the next hour after that, it just loses me.
It just lags.
It just does. Even though there's sweet moments in between and the other assassins, it doesn't really pick up for me till the very end when I feel like Julia Stiles might die. Like that whole chase sequence and the fight there with Dash.
I missed it in 07, but I think I saw it on video in 08 or 09, and I was really impressed.
Yeah.
Tony Gilroy, the writer, had a really good run there for a couple years. Really good run. Michael Clayton is the same year as this.
Yeah, I mean, his writing is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's just so tight. He just gets it.
Especially with these type of movies.
Yeah. I find that interesting.
Honestly, it was one of those moments where I was kind of like, come on, man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? Really? But I was in the right state of mind. Like, I was tired, but it was like exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to sit down and watch a movie. I'd been moving all weekend. Like, I was just shocked by it.
I wonder if it was too hyped up for you because it had been so long, and we've done so many episodes of this show now. We've talked about how this is the best reviewed one a lot of times.
It could definitely be it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. You go in a state of mind where you're a little tired or you're not as focused, and it's just your expectations so high.
Right.
I get that. Like, I do. See, it's funny because my thesis statement is the opposite.
The exact opposite. Yeah.
And my thesis statement is that this is the best modern franchise spy movie made. And we'll say, I guess modern would suggest in the last 20 years.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you could even go just on the last 16 or just in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Because the movies have changed.
Since 2000. This is the best film.
Film. Like, even out of every spy movie that isn't a like maybe a franchise
That's
spy
what I said,
movie?
franchise spy movie.
You did? Okay, yeah.
Franchise,
that makes much, yeah.
Because it's hard. Like, there's ones, for instance, okay, great example, Michael Clayton. Michael Clayton is a better movie than this. Michael Clayton is one of my 20 favorite movies. Like, I adore that movie. The writing and everything, the pacing is written by the same guy, so it has a lot of similar characteristics. It's not really a spy movie though. It's an espionage, like sort of like a corporate espionage thriller.
It's cool because it's one of those movies, even though I haven't seen Michael Clayton, based off of what you've said and who wrote it, it's probably one of those movies that isn't an action movie, but feels like it could be like a thriller, even though it's like just a drama, pretty much.
The fact that you haven't watched that movie is actually mind-blowing.
It's crazy.
It's like one of those things where like, I'm gonna watch The Hunted and be like, that was super sweet and entertaining, and you're gonna watch Michael Clayton.
You probably won't even say that.
Full disclosure, I was like super hungover on a Sunday 3 weeks ago. I didn't even tell you this. And The Hunted is on Netflix.
Yes.
I watched the first 20 minutes of it and fell asleep.
Yes.
Just fully passed out.
That's great.
No, like, I just think you'll watch Michael Clayton. And
I'm sure
And
I
you'll
will.
call me and just be like, I want to marry Tom Wilkinson. He's my
Right.
favorite person that's ever lived.
Like a dog.
Yeah, amazing. So I think that this is the best one. I think about all of the other franchised spy movies that have happened in that time, and my favorite moments in the different movies. And this just to me is like, it's the epitome of what I want out of these movies. I love the actors involved. I love David Strathairn as a villain. He's just kind of a weasel.
He is. He's a weasel. He's the
shit weasel.
He's a shit weasel, but he doesn't die. And someone, okay, two things, audience, real quick in the live chat. Get on Twitter and suggest the movies. Don't do it in here. It's not going to matter.
It's
I'm
not
going to
gonna
forget
matter in
all
the
of
chat.
them. Secondly, we love that you're watching, and we love that you're live chat. Third,
Yeah.
someone was like, "Don't you wish that he killed Noah at the end of the movie?" And I do, from my point of view of like, I hate shit weasels and I want them to die.
Yeah.
Well, but I don't think that he should have killed him. It wouldn't have made, just like how he shouldn't have killed Chris Cooper in the first one.
Right.
It's not supposed to be him.
Yeah.
It's better to have the system or someone else take him down.
There was one piece of writing in this movie that was weak. It was one... Oh, I know exactly what it was. Mm-hmm. It's when David Strathairn calls Scott Glenn and says something to Scott Glenn, and he's like, don't forget why we put her there. If this all goes haywire, we hanging around her neck.
Right.
Start over. And it's like, first of all, why are you even saying that out loud? Like, you guys, it's clear. Of course, that's why she's there.
Of course that, yeah.
And if it's that intense, then I'm sure you guys have had this conversation 100 fucking times. And like, that is such weak and lousy and
Because
boring.
even, what does he say? He says, remember?
Yeah.
He starts it off with remember?
It is.
Yeah.
That's such weak exposition. It's like,
Yeah.
that's like, come on, guys. Like, I get it. Like, this is an intelligent script and it's an action movie, so you want to explain to the audience. But I was like, you need to really show us that phone call. Like, really?
But then for me, there was also that moment of like, no. There's no. Pamela Landy has done the full flip.
Yeah.
She is now a good person. She's not going to get screwed over by them. Like,
Yeah.
that was another thing in this movie. I didn't really feel like anything was at stake until near the end, when it felt like Styles could die and blah, 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 like everything could come to.
Did you
go to hell.
notice how weird it is that so after he leaves Styles and she's sitting in the cafe and she gives the phone to Desh, do you know she doesn't have another line the rest of the movie? She's in the rest of the movie a significant
She
amount.
didn't say anything?
Doesn't say a single word.
Are you shitting me?
Never a single word.
Wow.
Yeah, right? She leaves the phone. She almost
Yeah.
dies. Then they're up in the room and he like says to her, he's like, they're going to keep looking for you. And she like looks at him and then she's washing her hair and she looks at him and he says, it gets easier. And she looks at him and she gets on the bus and she looks at him
And then she's gone.
and she's gone.
She didn't say one more.
Not a single word.
I didn't even think about that.
Isn't that weird?
That is really weird.
Yeah, right?
That means that she did a good job then.
Yeah.
You know?
She does a really good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's in the fifth one. Yeah, I thought that was so interesting. I also like that they didn't give us romance with those two.
Yeah, it would have been so forced.
Yeah.
Because she even references it,
Yeah.
kind of. She alludes to it, saying, you don't remember anything, do you?
Yeah.
Do you think, so they must have had some sort of relationship
Maybe
before?
something. And then we'll get a flashback or something.
Yeah, in the new one. 'Cause she's in the new one.
Julia Stiles, the luckiest moment in her entire career ever being in Bourne 1. Just like
Save the Last Dance?
say-
Yeah.
just like the luckiest thing that's ever happened.
Yeah, it's funny because last night when I was going to sleep, for some reason I turned on 10 Things I Hate About You. It's a good movie, but I was like, oh yeah, Julia Stiles is in this. Oh yeah, that's you.
Really?
Yeah, she's the main chick.
Oh, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he's the one that Heath Ledger's after the whole movie. Okay, so those are our bold thesis statements, right? They're basically the exact opposite.
Yeah, which is really interesting. That I don't know that we've ever had that happen.
No, and it's not even that I don't like this movie.
Except for the taking of Pelham 1, 2,
Except for the
3.
Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
All right, so let's get into the next bit of our show, which is fist pump moment, guys. Fist pump moment. It's the part of the show where something happens, where you're watching the movie and you have that moment. You look around, you're like, oh my god, are you seeing this right now?
This
is
is insane.
Anybody seeing what is happening right now? This is so fucking sweet. And you want to just talk about it and share it with your buddies.
Yeah.
So for me, Donica, do you mind queuing up the train station scene? this is my fist bump moment. This whole sequence.
It's so clean and cool and yeah.
It's just sick. Like it starts out and like the writer's on the train and like, oh, this is like halfway into the scene already.
Yeah, which is good because it's long.
It's
but
a long scene.
My favorite things about the scene are that not only is Bourne being completely undetected and evasive while helping him, but it's not even a thought for it. It's not even hard. Is that he's getting the other dude out of every situation that he's getting into, but the other dude still freaks out like a normal person would. He's coming. I think he's one of them. I think I'm going. Like
he's got a gun.
Yeah, he's reaching for something. He's like, no. And then obviously the way the scene ends, again, he's like, no, don't do it, calm down, and he ends up dying.
I always wonder in a script, if you had to write a scene like this, how the hell would you write a scene like this?
It's crazy because I've read so many scripts and they're so different. I've got to feel like there's got to be like a page of just like blocking, essentially, of just exposition.
I just wonder, like, I have a hard time literally imagining reading this dialogue with all the direction and everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would be quick cut to this line like that.
Exactly.
That's all it would be.
Because then you also think about like quick like all the quick cuts, but then you also think about the fact that like to write this, you have to have the whole train station essentially outlined like a storyboard. Like you really have to know the outline, like the layout of the whole train station, where everyone's walking, where every agent is.
Yeah.
Whereas when we're watching it, it's very much like they're kind of everywhere, and Bourne can kind of see everywhere. That's like the thing about Bourne. He's a total superhero. Like he is
so
an unreasonable level of superhero.
There's no way. Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, I guess every one of those characters, the James Bonds and the Ethan Hunts,
they're all superheroes in their own way.
Their training is all perfect.
Yeah.
Impeccable.
Yeah, this is sweet. He's so sweet.
Yeah, this is my fist bump moment for sure. This is my fist bump moment because it's just like
Sorry, go ahead.
It kind of epitomizes everything that the Bourne franchise is about.
Exactly what I was just gonna say. Is this, if you could put it all into one scene, this is what it would be.
It's like he doesn't use force until he has to. He's undetected. You even get the moment. Right here where he's on camera.
Right, and he looks.
You're gonna get the like. This is the same reveal that you even get in the trailer for Jason Bourne. They like steal a bunch of shit from this movie. He like knocks him down, and we're gonna have a cut to Strathern, and he's gonna be like, Jesus Christ.
That's Jason Bourne.
That's Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
Which is funny that you say that.
Yeah.
Because, let's see, does it keep going?
No, it cuts to Strathern, and he's gonna be like,
well, no, I mean, do you see him?
Right there. Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
Which is my fist pump moment.
Really?
Yep. That's mine
That
right
moment?
there. That
Right
moment
there?
right
Yeah.
there. Because I remember
Okay.
sitting there watching it with the reveal of the camera and
yeah.
everything and the line and him like looking at it. Was just like, this is exactly
What this movie's
what
about.
should be happening right now. This is exactly where I want to be.
And I'm so bummed out that you watched that, and then literally like from there it just went downhill for you.
It did. It went downhill for like in the next hour, and then it gets better for me.
Yeah, that whole sequence to me is what this franchise is about. That's what I love. It's just so awesome. It's just awesome.
It is, and it's, again, we've said this like 50 times, and I'm gonna try to not keep saying it, but it's so clean that you kind of feel like you're in it. Like you kind of feel like you're a spy a little bit.
Well, I also love that this one picks up directly after the second one ends.
Yep.
That's one of the coolest things about it. The second one has a sweet ending, if I recall. Like, right?
Yeah, for how many times I've seen it, I can't remember.
Well, I think it ends.
ends.
It ends in Moscow with him bleeding, right?
Yeah.
And stumbling
That's
down
exactly
that stairwell,
what it is.
and that's because that's where the third one starts. And I think the production between the two films was super short. Like, I think they filmed 2, and then they went into like hiatus for like 3 months, and then they started filming 3. They like filmed it almost back to back.
Yeah, I know. I love that in the new one he's like older.
He's grizzled.
Yeah, rugged.
He's rugged.
Oh, it's so sweet.
So much HGH. I can't wait to be successful and in my 40s and have like a doctor prescribe me HGH.
Yeah, right. It's
I'm like,
fine.
I need to get jacked for this thing, and they're like, "Yeah, it's fine. I mean, this is not good for you, but
I mean, you're 40, so
yeah, why not?
yeah, you can just keep beating your body up.
All right, so that is Fist Pump. Guys, if you have your own Fist Pump moments, be sure to share them at AMA Podcast. Let us know. We're trying to be better with the Twitter. We're sharing some movie news. It's a fun thing we're doing now, starting to kind of let you guys know what we think is awesome and going on.
Got a lot of people that's their favorite scene as well.
Yeah.
And only not a lot of people, but got one or two people that totally disagree or totally agree with you, which I completely understand.
That this is the best.
Yeah, I'm in like the bottom 9% of the world.
That's why you wore your cornflower yellow shirt.
I did. I needed some redeeming factor. Quality.
Bad Boys 3 is coming out soon. That just came to mind for me for some reason. But the writer I met the other night at a premiere, and he's a friend of Anthony's because Anthony is also writing Bad Boys 3.
Anthony's writing Bad Boys 3?
Anthony is finishing Bad Boys 3 right now.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
He's like a fill-in writer on it, and so he said he'd get the writer in here for us when it comes on. So
Oh, that's great.
we'll
All
have him in
right,
here.
so I love Bad Boys. One of my favorite franchises. Did he write the first two also?
The other guy?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
Well, hopefully he didn't.
But
A lot of times passed since then. A lot of times passed.
So let's get into. Wow, I'm peaking hard. Let's get into star profiles.
There's a sex joke in there somewhere. We're not
could
going
be.
to do that. So Damon, it's interesting because this is when he's like, can do no wrong. He's in everything. And he's kind of just carried that on almost till now. But this is when he was like doing a lot.
This is peak Damon. Yeah, because if you think about it,
Right now he's like a different kind of, he's older. So it's a different type of peaking when you're in your 40s.
if you think about Damon's career, you can look at it in a couple pretty distinct chunks, right? So there's he comes on the scene in the mid '90s and has the big breakout with Good Will Hunting. That's
Right.
the big break. So there's everything from early on in like Field of Dreams to like Rounders,
All the Kevin Smith movies.
yeah,
that he's
exactly.
in.
And then the big breakthrough with Miramax, and he's in Dogma a couple years later with Affleck. They do Good Will Hunting. The big like. I feel like Bourne 1 is the big, like, that's the big transition because that was the big action movie that he had done.
That's when you kind of realized as an audience, this guy can do everything.
And it wasn't the first one that vaulted him into the next phase, it was the second one.
Yeah.
Because the first one was a success enough that by 04, everything Matt Damon was in was good. Well, and it was also just like, oh, Matt Damon's an A-list movie star. We have to go see this. Because people forget that the Oceans franchise happened literally right there.
Massive.
Like, he was just in all the right
And he's the
things.
number 3
In that?
or
Yeah.
behind Pitt and Clooney.
Yeah. But I mean, so...
Which at the time, again, those guys were just finishing their massive, like the top of their careers.
Yeah, I guess by... I think in a weird way, I think all three of them had their biggest runs at the same time. Because I think about Clooney, and he won his Oscar for Syriana in 06, right? So that's pretty friggin' massive.
But they were huge. They were big up and comers, I guess, in the late '90s, late '90s. I guess is where I felt like. What I'm trying to say is I feel like Pitt and Clooney hit theirs a little sooner than
Earlier,
Damon's, like 5 years.
100%. Because Clooney's like his big early roles that are like the memorable ones, like Out of Sight's '96, Batman's '98, Peacemaker's '99,
ER.
Yeah, Oh Brothers 2000. So that's
so good.
that's when he's on his run.
Yeah.
And then Brad Pitt, Seven's 95, Fight Club's 99. You know what I mean? So they both started a solid 5 years before Damon did.
So that's funny because like in the Oceans, it's kind of like those top 3 are actually flipped, or like they were actually flipping at the time.
Yeah, but so right around this time though, Ocean's 13 is the same year as this, right? Good Shepherd, that's the Robert De Niro directed head of the CIA movie.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
It's fine. It's okay. But the point is,
So he's got those glasses, right?
yeah, Angelina Jolie and him alongside each other. De Niro, I believe, is in it. I know he directed it. And then The Departed, of course, in 06, which is so good, and he wins Best Picture.
Yep.
So, like, he's sort of like, this is peak Damon. This is friggin' just, like, as big as he ever got. Because after this movie, he left the Bourne franchise for a few years.
Yeah,
You know?
and he kind of did more dramatic roles. Invictus was in there,
Yep,
and
exactly.
he was like gunning for an Oscar.
Tried a lot of stuff. He did that movie The Informant in there.
Yeah.
He was in
was good.
Contagion. He's just been in so much stuff.
Yeah.
He's been in so much stuff. So then on the other side of things, you got David Strathern.
He's one of those guys that's probably been in more movies than Damon.
Strathern, yeah, he's a very talented character actor. I don't know any of these movies, do you?
I don't either. No,
No,
I
very nice.
didn't even look him up because I don't care.
Strathern's big moment was right here.
Yeah.
Because Good Night and Good Luck is within a year of this, I believe. And that's the Clooney directed movie about Edward R. Murrow. And
with Cusack, right?
no, it's
What am I thinking of?
Good Night, Good Luck is the black and white one
Yeah,
about
Cusack's not in that?
I don't think so. But the news station in the 60s?
I think that's someone else.
Or the 50s?
Yeah.
It was a passion project for Clooney, but it's a really good movie. It is really good. It got Oscar nominations.
Yeah, it got
and Strathern is the lead. He's the main...
Yeah, and he was also in Lincoln, which I didn't see, but like
Okay.
he's the type of guy. Yeah, he's not a bad actor. He's a very good actor. He's a
Yeah.
character actor, but he's just not the type of guy. And I think it's kind of apparent in this film that he can't really carry
Yeah.
a film that well.
Yeah, I think he plays the role. He plays his role in this movie well.
Great, he does it great.
yeah.
I just don't think there's much more that he could have added to it.
Yeah.
With his acting chops.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a specific kind of actor. Now, granted, if anybody watching or listening is like a massive David Strathern fan and you know something we don't, it's,
Tell us, please.
yeah, because quite honestly, guys his age that get the kind of roles he gets that have been around as long as he has, he's probably remarkably talented. He's probably capable of doing shit we've never even imagined. And, you know, we just don't get to see those roles because we don't watch these movies. We didn't watch any of these 3 movies. So
No.
It's also one of those weird things, though, right? Because we talked about this. Who's the star B in this movie?
Yeah, it was so hard. I mean, like I couldn't do it until rewatching it last night. It's not Landy, it's not Styles, it's not either of the assassins. It's got to be him.
Yeah. Or it's Albert Finney.
Or it's Albert Finney. But he's definitely the villain, and because he is. I mean, he just kills people, you know.
Yeah.
When he doesn't know what to do with them anymore, and he has the authority to do that. No, he's good. He's just,
Yeah.
you know, maybe that's why. Maybe I need a good villain, and
Yeah.
Urban is great in the second one,
Yeah.
and Cooper's awesome in the first one.
He's sweet.
Yeah.
And Brian Cox is the villain in the second one.
Yeah, he's the main villain, but Urban is like
The other
guy
assassin?
he's the one that killed his wife, and then he's the one that has this sweet car chase. The car chase in the second one might be the sweetest chase in all 3.
Who's your favorite asset?
What do you mean?
They always say it's the asset on site.
Right.
The assassins.
Yeah, it's got to be Urban.
Really?
Yeah,
I think it's Clive Owen for me.
Clive Owen is sweet.
Even though he's kind of a pussy,
yeah, he doesn't ever actually do anything.
he's just Clive Owen.
Yeah.
Smoldering Clive Owen.
Smoldering.
And he's got that one line, which is super sweet. And he has that great performance as he's dying where he starts laughing.
Yeah, no, that's the thing about Clive Owen.
Yeah.
He's such a good actor, but he just doesn't do good roles or something. Like, he's so good in Children of Men.
Yeah.
And he's great in Bourne Identity.
He should be in something awesome now. He just hasn't managed to get
Maybe
it.
he needs to do that thing that we talked about, like the Tarantino reboot.
Yeah, right. It would have been so sweet if a few years ago, right? Like I think he's just past being the correct age now. It would have been so sweet if around like 07, 08 he had gotten James Bond. If it had been him,
because he was in talks for it. Yeah.
If it had been him instead of Daniel Craig. I mean, I really liked Daniel Craig in a lot of those movies.
Me too. I think he's sweet. It's just the movies kind of. It's the same thing that happens with Brosnan. Is the first 2 are the best, and the rest of them are garbage.
Relative term, but
Well, no, I mean, obviously, like, those movies are on a vastly different scale, but still, the first 2 were probably better than the other ones.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Same as I feel the same way with Casino Royale, and well, actually, I like Skyfall more than Quantum of Solace, but they're all kind of dog shit.
yeah, they'll suck.
They really do. Spectre was such a letdown.
I think the least memorable. Well, actually, we'll talk about that later. So let's get a little bit into production development, so we can talk about kind of where all these guys were with their careers. We've covered a lot of these people before. I referenced Tony Gilroy a bunch. So Robert Ludlum, we've talked about him before. He's the
he
guy
wrote
that
the
wrote the
novel.
original novels. Aside from Bourne Identity, most of the adaptation stuff is not at all related to the books.
Right, and even I'd say maybe 60% of Bourne Identity is not in the book.
Yeah, exactly.
either. Yeah.
And they only use the titles of the subsequent books. They don't actually use the stories.
Right.
So this is all original.
He's just
writing.
like, cool, whatever. I'll just
Yeah.
take my millions of dollars.
Yeah, he's totally into it. So, yeah, because Gilroy and the success of Bourne Identity, he ended up working on all of the Bourne films. It's funny, right? Like, is there a more perfect franchise for Tony Gilroy than the Bourne
No,
franchise?
definitely not. The other 2 franchises he has no business in, which is Mission Impossible and Bond.
Yeah.
And
He's just,
this is made for him.
right. It's literally like the movie that he did after Michael Clayton, his follow-up in 2009, I think, was called Duplicity.
Oh, that was the Clive
Julia
Owen,
Roberts
Natalie
one?
Portman.
Julia Roberts.
Well, yeah, Natalie Portman's in it too. Trust me. She's a stripper in it.
No, that's Closer.
Oh, that is Closer.
Yeah.
Damn it. I just wanted to think about that.
And she's
scene.
not a stripper in Closer. She just has the scene where she wears a wig and
She's a
strips.
stripper. Look, don't ruin this for me, okay?
Don't ruin this for me,
It's one of
man.
my favorite scenes in any movie.
Look,
I want to
man.
recast it with Alicia Vikander now.
It's my bachelor party, man.
Bachelor party, man.
We're
Let
on
me
a
have
show.
my-
Are you having a stroke?
All right, Duplicity, whatever.
And Duplicity is like, it's like trying to be funnier. So it's trying to be funnier and more tongue in cheek.
remember that movie.
And it's fine. It's totally like good. It's not great. But it's just funny. Like if I think about his writing style, Michael Clayton's the best thing he's ever written, but this is still, these movies are perfect for him.
Right.
It's so cloak and dagger. It's so like, the thing is about this franchise takes itself so seriously compared to the other ones.
It is life and death. Everything, every situation. There is no. Is there any laughs in these movies at all?
Like,
and if there are, like, they're intentional and they're real quick. If they're in there even at all.
I guess, like, I can't even think of one. Like, I don't think this movie has a single.
I can't
moment of
either.
humor.
I'm just thinking there might be moments of like situational humor.
Yeah,
but I don't think so.
Nothing comes to mind for me.
No
me
laughs.
neither. Yeah. Anyway, Tony Gilroy has a brother that also writes. His father was award winning. I mean, like they're just their entire family is very successful. And he also directed Duplicity as well as Michael Clayton. So anyway, he is writing a bunch of stuff now. He's not writing on things like this right now. He's writing on some weird kind of obscure projects.
Yeah, he hasn't really been working with like the stacked cast that he used to. He's kind of maybe he's trying to get back to his roots, like go back to basic, you know.
Yeah, something like that. Greengrass.
You love Greengrass.
I like Paul Greengrass.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Paul Greengrass's most notable movie is United 93.
Huh.
How weird is that?
Which I never saw.
You didn't?
No.
Oh, you should see it.
Is it?
It's really good.
Really good, huh?
He got Oscar nod for it. For directing.
Kind of stayed away from all those.
Well, it's shameful because but the fact that people associated United 93 with World Trade Center.
Right.
Because World Trade Center was like, you put Nicolas Cage in an actual story of the day as a fireman and directed by Oliver Stone.
That was just obscene.
Like, that movie is like, just even if the movie was good, that movie's a joke.
Yeah.
Paul Greengrass is like a master of political material. He's like very smart, extremely intelligent, understands politics, understands government, and didn't even tell the story of 9/11. He told the fucking story of the airplane of United Flight 93.
Like the passengers and the people that were working on it.
And it's the story of the passengers that took over the flight. That was supposed to be, and that's the one that crashed in a field. And it's so you get to tell the story from day one or from moment one of that morning. But I remember watching it in theaters and like definitely crying. Like it's like a very emotional movie.
Well, yeah, I'll have to check it out, man, because like I said, I was so put off by everyone trying to capitalize on that horrific thing that happened. And like you said, World Trade Center with Cage and Stone. I literally saw this. I was working at Blockbuster and I was like, is this a fucking joke?
Yeah, exactly.
Like those are the words that came out of my mouth. I think I said it in front of a customer when I was sitting there like reading it. And they were like, what? And I was like, nothing. Just don't worry about it.
Completely.
And then you got, Frank Marshall, Crowley, and Paul L. Sandberg. Now, Frank Marshall and Crowley they're a part of a team of producers. They are like the two main guys.
Yeah.
But they came all the way from the first one, and so did Lyman.
Right. So
they all produced this movie or the franchise.
So Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy, right? Kennedy Marshall. Two names behind like several of the biggest franchises in the world.
Back to the Future, Jurassic Park, the Bourne series, Star Wars.
Just as big as it gets.
Do we need to say anything more?
Yeah, Frank Marshall's like he's like a top 20, top 30, like all-time producer. But yeah, it's the same team. It's the same team involved in a lot of this stuff. So he's a big hitter. Marshall's been involved in all the Bourne movies. He produced the Jeremy Renner film. He's producing the new film. Yeah. As far as Greengrass goes, before we leave him, he got brought in to do Bourne Supremacy. That was his first major role. He had a lot of success as a British television director and doing some more independent British features.
Oh yeah, well, you had this mind-blowing fact to tell me earlier.
Yeah. So Paul Greengrass wrote a book in 1988. A book that I don't have the title in front of me, but it was essentially an expose of the British government and exposing the inner workings of MI5 and their secret service. And the book was banned in Britain because it was like fully accurate. They was like didn't want everybody reading it.
It's like full disclosure.
Yeah, he's like he was like, he was on like multiple lists as like one of the 25 or like the 50 smartest people in Britain. Like just like The guy's very smart, understands politics, gets it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
If that's the guy that you want to write your political thrillers,
Yeah.
like that, if you could pick one person, it's him.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, he's the guy you want behind. Empire Magazine and he awarded him in 06 and 07. His films were best film of the year by it. So like 06 he got it for United 93, and 07 this film won best film of the year. Yeah.
At the BAFTAs or where?
Empire Magazine.
Oh,
It's
Empire
top
Magazine. Gotcha,
100 films of the year. He's just Greengrass is just like a really interesting director. He's just like he hasn't done that many things.
Yeah, he's one of those directors that you wish just did a little bit more, but then maybe they'll lose that effect,
Right.
that awesome effect that they have.
He did Supremacy in 04. He did this in 07. He did 1993 and 06. The big misstep in his career for me is The Green Zone. It's that weird Matt Damon movie.
Yeah, people were talking about that on here. Yeah, I never watched that. I remember when it came out, I almost watched it a bunch of times, and it just lost it.
I saw it years later. It's the reason I had no interest is because it kind of just looked like another Bourne movie.
Yeah.
But not.
Yeah, because he's like a soldier in it or something, right?
Yeah,
Or
but he's like a soldier with a conscience. It's a weird movie.
with conscience, which they don't have. No.
I didn't really much like it, and I think that The Green Zone is like 08 or 09, and then he might have. Oh, and he directed Captain Phillips.
Which I heard wasn't good, or wasn't bad.
Yeah,
I heard it was fine.
Yeah, he and Ron Howard actually switched films. He was supposed to direct Rush originally, and Howard was supposed to direct Captain Phillips.
Which I keep hearing about that movie.
Rush?
Yeah.
People like Rush.
It's on the top
I've
250.
I've
It's
never
supposed to be
seen
very
it either.
entertaining. Yeah.
Didn't Alex love it?
Alex liked it a lot. He did not think it should have been on the list though.
Yeah.
All right, well let's get into this massive box office hit, which all of these movies were pretty successful. We got the graphic here we can pull up of all of Matt Damon's movies.
This is worldwide. So
Worldwide unadjusted.
so Interstellar was worldwide is the highest if you call that a Matt Damon movie. I mean,
Which it's not.
yeah. I mean, he has a big part, but
He
wasn't-
does,
but he wasn't even advertised.
The Martian though is definitely a Matt Damon movie, and I didn't know it did that well.
Yeah. Did you see that movie?
I didn't. I heard it was
awesome.
great. Yeah,
Really
I really
good.
need to. Our buddy Matt has a copy of it. I finally watched Deadpool.
Did you like it?
Yeah,
It's great, right?
It was really entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole time I was kind of like, can I buy this like British villain or whatever? But he was fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just fun. Reynolds kills it.
Yeah, he's great.
But you look at the movies. Yeah, he's hilarious, man. I'm back. I'm back on the Ryan Reynolds train.
Yeah.
You look at look at this. You know, Ocean's
Look at
13,
that-
Ocean's 11,
Look at that
Saving Private
filmography,
Ryan.
man. Jesus Christ, that's
Yeah,
insane.
I mean, you talk about
Martian, Saving Private Ryan, Ocean's 11, Bourne Ultimatum, Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, Departed, Bourne Supremacy.
I mean,
Elysium
every
did that well?
single one of those movies is up until Elysium. Every single one of those movies is great.
Yeah.
And Elysium might even be,
Well, Ocean's 13 is pretty.
yeah. Sorry, I'm more of like a name, I guess, behind it.
Right. Big. I mean, yeah, True Grit, Good Will Hunting, Bourne Identity, Ponyo, which I never saw, The Monuments Men, which is supposedly one of the worst films ever made.
That's the goat one, right? Oh no, it's the
That's the
Ministry of
Ministry of
Goats.
Goats. Both just like a bunch of old guys
Yeah.
that like win Oscars, like doing some weird like
Just, like,
alternative
bored.
comedy together.
What's that movie called? Space Cowboys?
Yeah.
One of those.
Old hogs.
Yeah. Wild Hogs.
Hogs.
Yeah, so you
Snow
look at Matt
Day.
Damon and
What?
Yeah. You look at Damon and he's one of those guys that is not like Denzel Washington, where they've been around forever and they are awesome actors and they're in a lot of great films. So Damon's films make billions and billions of dollars.
Look at the money there. The worldwide grosses on these movies, it's like you just get down to like just like the top 10 alone. Like
What's last place? How much money does that have?
$150 million.
Yeah.
Happy Feet 2.
Wow.
15th. I mean, 10th place, True Grit, that looks like 353 or 352 or something. Like,
That movie was kind of sweet.
I didn't see it. Or 250, I'm blind.
And he's out. Yeah, so this movie was produced by Universal. It cost $110 million to make, and it opened on August 3rd of 2007.
Precisely 2 years to the day before I moved to Los Angeles.
Really?
August 3rd. It's coming right up. My 7-year anniversary.
It was 2009? Mm-hmm. Wow.
I'll have been here 7 years in just about 2 months.
So you were only just a little bit ahead of me, like about 2 years ahead of me, a year and a half, something like that.
You came in 2011?
2010.
2010.
Yeah. So 2 years after that, so domestically it grossed $227 million, which already doubled its budget, and then it made an additional $215 worldwide for a total of $442 million, and it made $69 million its opening weekend.
Yeah, this was peak. I mean, this was
Yeah.
peak Damon. This is every reason they thought that, every single reason that they thought Jeremy Renner at Bourne Legacy was going to make a ton of money,
Right.
were the reasons this movie made a ton of money.
Yep.
And every reason that they were wrong is the reason that Matt Damon has that kind of box office success. because the franchise is successful, but Matt Damon is the reason the franchise is successful.
Right,
It's not the other way
exactly.
around. It's not just you can put the Bourne logo on something and expect it to make a ton of money.
Yeah. Oh, and guys, you got to remember with those movies like Saving Private Ryan only making $440 million, that was also almost, that was 15 years ago.
It was 20 years ago.
20 years. It was 2000.
I guess 18.
Yeah. So if we were to have pulled the adjusted, it probably would have been in first place, or at least probably second.
Yeah,
Interstellar's pretty hard to beat.
We tend to like to pull worldwide because now if there was a worldwide adjusted,
Right.
that would be great. It's difficult though with worldwide adjusted because then you're dealing with multiple economies and multiple levels of inflation, and that's too hard to track. So, but yes, nonetheless, needless to say, Damon has made a shitload of money.
Yeah, and all the producers were like, yeah, that's why we did it, and yeah, we were right, so where's our paycheck,
Exactly.
Critically, 8.1 on IMDb, we talked about this earlier, it's number 207 of the top 250, and it actually goes against our little algorithm for Rotten Tomatoes, which is it's a 94% by top, a 96% by all, and a 91 by audience. They're still all in the 90s. It's
crazy.
still loved all the way across the board.
As much as I love this movie and as good as I think it is, I think I still find this one of the most surprising parts because
What's that?
I don't
Like
understand.
how highly ranked it is?
It's very hard for me to feel like as good as this movie is as a movie,
Yeah,
that the Bourne Identity doesn't deserve every bit of the same praise.
same.
Because the Bourne Identity is such a more important movie than this. You could never have had this movie be what it is
exactly.
without Bourne 1. And so that's why it's like I think it's weird that Bourne Identity is not even in the top 250.
No, neither of the other two are.
And movies like this, where they're recent movies with an enormous audience and a huge brand, have been voted on a trillion times.
Oh, yeah, several 100,000 times usually. And if it's not several, it's at least a few 100,000 people that have gone and voted.
So you're not talking about a small sample size here.
No. And especially with movies and with Rotten Tomatoes too, a lot of you'll see sometimes with the older movies that get like 75% or 80%, it's because there's 10 reviews. And 3 of them are good and one's bad, or 4 of them are good and one's bad.
Yeah.
This one has several hundred under all the categories. So this movie is, everyone saw it. You've got all the opinions out there, biased, non-biased. People love it.
Yeah.
I just don't know why I don't.
I think honestly my guess is that I think it was one of those just weird like time and place things. Maybe you were a weird movie you watched it, the expectation was too high.
Well, see, that's why I pulled this review by Jeff Revere from the Toronto Star. He says, while Ultimatum may be the lesser of the 3 Jason Bourne movies, it is only so because the bar set by the predecessors was so uncommonly high. And I love that review because I agree with him for one, and I think that he kind of figured out why I agree with him. And it is because I love the first and second one so much, and then with all the hype behind this one, I just think it was impossible to live up to the standards that I was building for it.
Yeah.
Because if I love those 2 movies that much and 90% of people think that this is better, then I'm expecting a better movie.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it,
Yep, I get that. It looks like you have Stephen Hunter gave it a rotten review from the Washington Post. And he says it's frenetic to the point of crazy while achieving a mark that barely exceeds mediocre. I hate reviews like that because even if you don't like the movie, that doesn't actually
Review the film.
no.
At all.
I mean, granted, I know that's just a soundbite. That's just like you did write probably a longer review than that.
Yeah.
But like achieving a mark that barely exceeds mediocre. The first part, it's frenetic to the point of crazy. Understandable.
Yes.
A mark that barely exceeds mediocre is just like, what does that even mean?
How did you get from A to B?
Yeah.
Or A to C. You skipped like so many steps in between. The reason that I pulled that is because I wanted to talk about it being frenetic, about the camera shakiness, and about the quick cutting and all that. Because
the camera shaking is Greengrass's signature thing.
Yep.
That's something that's a style that he's developed in his filmmaking. It is interesting that from an action movie standpoint, he's a better director for this kind of movie than Doug Liman is, which is why Bourne 1 does feel like a different movie. Bourne is like the prototype version. So from as we said, the cleanliness, kind of like tight, extremely well put together movie, this is a better movie than Bourne 1. No question.
right.
But from the point of view of like, I love this movie, but there's nothing about this movie that is iconic. Bourne 1 has multiple moments that are like iconic fist bump moments. That's the scene in the diner. I can run for a mile and a half flat before, before my hands start shaking.
Yeah.
Right. And the guy knows how to handle himself.
Yep.
Right. Where's the dog? The dog's
the-
never gone. The gun. Get in the basement. Just those moments in Bourne 1.
It was those moments of discovery while being so sure of yourself.
Yeah.
Because were there ever moments I don't remember if it was in these movies or not. It's so hard, but like where they realize they can speak another language. Is that in the first one?
Yeah.
Like that kind of shit is so cool. And you're just like, oh wow, I'm speaking French now. Apparently I know how to speak French.
Yeah.
Like that stuff. His discoveries of all those was so beautiful.
And that's why at the end of the day, I might have just talked myself out of my thesis, to be honest
I'm
with you.
curious if you did. I really am.
I might have just talked myself out of my thesis.
You think that 1 is better than 3?
Maybe. But I think that's a great thing for us to get into. So we are going to get into hero villain ranking, and we are going to get into all-time ranking. And before we do that, we should let you guys know we decided to do a special ranking challenge.
Special ranking challenge. That's our new soundbite.
Thank you, Bob. We are going to, well, so I guess, okay, so you'll see where we have these films. I think this is incorrect now because I think I'm changing my mind. But this is our heroes list. They're definitely, I'm not ranking any of the villains in this movie.
No, definitely not.
So it looks like you put Jason Bourne from The Ultimatum
At 22.
behind the driver from Drive.
Yep.
Behind Creasy from Man on Fire.
Yep.
And behind Ethan Hunt from Ghost Protocol.
Yes, sir.
No, Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation.
And he's directly in front of Doc Holliday from Tombstone. I'm offended on every level here.
I thought you might be. I was like putting it in and plugging it and like looking at where it was. I was like, oh,
Laughing.
it is what it is.
Just licking your lips, laughing yourself. On my end of things, I put this Bourne at number 9.
I was shocked.
Oh, no, look at this. I have him way behind. I have Jason Bourne from Bourne Identity at my number 4.
But that makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still think this is, I mean, you might not anymore think it's a better movie, but the Bourne in number 1 is, I think, was exactly what we were just talking about. He's still discovering who he is. This is like, this one and in Ultimatum and the new Jason Bourne, he's fully realized.
I didn't talk myself out of it. I'm dead on.
Okay.
This is essentially what I was getting at. Because
Right.
having those moments, thinking about those moments.
Those
from
are all
Bourne
Jason
1,
Bourne.
Those are all just him being the best Bourne.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is still a sweet Bourne to me. I still really like this Bourne. The way he handles the train station sequence, the way that he takes those guys out.
Yeah.
It's so nonchalant, so casual.
That is the most iconic moment in this film, I think.
Yeah, and that's why I like this Bourne a lot. So he's ahead of First Blood Part 2 Rambo. He's ahead of John McClane. He's ahead of T-800. Jesus, I put him high.
T-800.
John Patrick Mason. Brendan Conlon. What was I thinking?
For John Patrick Mason.
That is my ranking there. Let's jump over to our...
You didn't put him in front of Bob, did you?
Bob. So we've decided we're going to rank every single film in descending order of the James Bond, Bourne, and Mission Impossible franchises.
Post 2006. Or 2006 moving... Or, I'm sorry,
2000.
Bond. For Bond. 2006 on. All Daniel Craig Bond.
Yeah, all Daniel Craig Bond. But we are doing... But start going... So basically the full Tom Cruise MI franchise.
Yep, all 5 of those.
The full... Including the Jeremy Renner Bourne Legacy. So the whole
4 of
Bourne
those.
franchise. And every one of the Daniel Craig.
Which
So
is Skyfall, Quantum of Solace, Casino Royale, and Spectre. All 4 of those
so we
as
have,
well.
we have 14 movies total to rank on the list in descending order. My number 14 is Spectre.
As is mine. My number 4... Or yes, my very last place is Spectre.
Aside from the first 5 minutes of the movie, before I'm not even talking about the fight in the helicopter.
Right.
I'm literally just talking about him with the hot chick.
Oh, you're talking about Sam Smith's opening song.
Guess it's true. I'm not good. The one that's there.
Would have been better if it was that song.
Would have been great. Why was that so funny that time?
I don't know. We did it for like few months. We just
Yeah.
kept doing that.
Rock solid.
We got no friends.
No friends.
My is there 14? Is that
Yep.
1, 2? Okay, so my 13 is Quantum of Solace.
My 13 is also Quantum of Solace.
Is our 12 going to be the same as well?
Mission Impossible 2.
I put Legacy there,
I put Legacy at 11.
so I switched those 2.
Yeah, so we're pretty much getting there.
So we're basically Spectre, Quantum of Solace. Then I have Legacy, and you have I have Legacy and MI2. You have it swapped.
So now we're looking at top 10. I just want to make sure that I've got everything written down here. I didn't miss one before we keep going. So I've got that one, that one, that one. So I'm missing that, and what am I missing here? Got it.
So we've still got MI 1, 3, 4, and 5. We've still got Identity and Supremacy and Ultimatum, and you've got Casino Royale and Skyfall.
Is there only 13 movies? Did I screw it up?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Oh, there's 13
That's
movies.
why.
Got
All
it. Okay.
Audience, bear with us.
Yeah. All right. So my next film is Skyfall.
As is mine.
Oh, interesting. Our lists are so similar.
Yeah.
Behind that, I have Mission Impossible 1.
As do I.
Wow.
Yeah, we're doing well. We're doing well, except for I think this is where everything changes.
After that, I have Mission Impossible 4.
I have Ultimatum.
You have Ultimatum? What?
Yep.
It's that low for you.
It's that low.
Wow. Wow. That is unbelievable.
I have Ultimatum, and then I have Mission Impossible 4 at number 6.
I have the Bourne Supremacy after Mission Impossible 4 at number 6.
So my number 5 is Bourne Supremacy.
Oh, okay. And my number 5 is Mission Impossible 5, Rogue Nation.
Okay. And my number 4 is Mission Impossible 5.
So my number 4 is Casino Royale.
Wow. Okay, this is crazy because we are very, very close, and everything's falling in about the same place, but it's not quite there. So I just did MI5 at number 4, so that means we're in the top 3, and you
Yeah.
have Casino Royale at number 5. Number 4. So top 3 movies.
In the whole 3 franchises?
Yep. I have
I'll tell
Identity at number 3.
Where's Rabbit's Foot?
Where's Robert's Foot?
That's my number 3.
You have MI3 at number
Mission
3.
Impossible 3 is number 3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I put Identity at number 2.
Yep. And then Ultimatum at number 1.
Yeah.
And I did Casino Royale at number 2 and MI3 at number 1.
MI3 is your favorite of all of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
I love MI3. I couldn't get over still how much I loved Ultimatum.
Yeah, I was having a really hard time with my top 3 between Royale, MI3, and Identity. It was all 3 of those could flip flop anyway.
Yeah. So anybody who's listening and you want to tweet along and let us know what your favorite are, go ahead and just type it on your phone or write it on your desktop and screenshot it. Use that as a picture and tweet that at us at AMA Podcast because you won't be able to fit all of the in 140 characters on Twitter.
Yeah, and we would love to see them. And we're sorry if ours was confusing, but
yeah, or if you want to leave it in the YouTube comments, if you want to make your list of 13 in descending order as a YouTube comment, that's cool too. Let us know what you think though. That's just it is not surprising that Andrew and I have a fairly similar group mind on this.
Yeah, of course.
The number of times we've talked about these things.
and it looks like our audience is kind of split down the middle. I more agree with Andrew on the ranking. I agree with Ben. So it's I mean, I feel like they're very close. And someone else posted their ranking here, which is pretty similar to ours, except for they have Skyfall at number 1.
You know, it's weird. Some people love Skyfall.
I really like that movie, but it's weird because the best and the worst part are kind of the same for me. Not only like the incursion on the house is awesome,
Yeah.
but at the same time, there's something about it that just feels there's no stakes for me. Like I feel like nothing bad can really happen. I don't know. Skyfall's sweet. I need to watch it again, but those are our lists, and I'm glad that you guys wrote yours down as well, and they're all pretty close.
Yeah.
You hate that I have Ultimatum at like 8.
It's just so sweet. I almost want to put Identity. I struggle with 1, 2, and 3 here. Ultimatum, Identity, and MI3.
Yeah.
Because there's a moment for each of those movies that makes me want to put it at number 1. They're
Right.
the only 3 movies on here that I could justify being number 1.
Count 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna count to 10. Like how do you almost not just put that at number 1?
Is it France? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and then for actually ranking this movie on our lists, which I think we've got the graphic up here,
Yeah, I put this at number 14.
and I put mine at 33.
Crazy. So this is Behind the Edge, which I appreciate.
Yep.
Directly ahead of Under Siege, Crimson Tide. How is Crimson Tide so low for you? That blows my mind.
I know. It's because we've done so many good movies on this show.
I know. There's only a couple movies that are easy to put at the back, and they
Yeah.
consistently stay at the back for us.
Yeah.
Everything else is like
Every time we get one of those, I'm pretty happy because it makes my life a lot easier.
Yeah, this is behind Fury Road for me.
Okay.
This is behind Minority Report. This is behind Drive. It's directly ahead of Identity. It's directly ahead of Mission Impossible 3. Directly ahead of Predator.
I do respect the right in front of Identity, and I'm interested to see where Supremacy lies on yours, if it'll be right behind that.
This is getting so hard with these lists. I look at these movies, and I look at these movies that are around it, and I'm like, how is Crimson Tide and Predator that low? Like, how is The Last Samurai that low on my list?
I know, right?
I look at this and I'm like, how is it possible that the fucking Fugitive is only number 9? Or Gladiator is my 8th movie.
I know.
What's happening?
Right? Okay. Oh, and guys, we actually have 2 special ranking and a special recast as well.
Yeah, because the idea was like, this movie falls in a really awkward place for a recast for us. Because 2007, it's being made as a sequel now. They already recast it a few years later with a different lead that's a male.
Right.
It's not really old enough that you want to go back in time too far to try to do this.
Because if you do, you've got to go to the 80s only.
Yeah, and it's not... The cast in this movie was so, like, scattered. So it's really like... We started to think, okay, if you were going to launch a new franchise, a new Bourne franchise, you're going to reboot the whole thing. But in this day and age, I don't think you would do it with a male, because they kind of tried. I think you would do it with a female. I think you would launch the franchise with a female. Andrew and I decided to talk about Alicia Vikander for like 10. No, no, we decided who would be our top 3 choices for a woman to launch relaunch the Bourne franchise today. Who would those people be? And assuming that you need to have a few years on you to be able to make 2 or 3 movies. So yeah, this is sort of a loose discussion. We'll each kind of pitch a couple, and if you guys have any thoughts of your own who you think would be sweet, let us know. My first thought, Shailene Woodley.
Okay, are we going to omit a specific female out there or no?
I mean, you guys know who our favorite, not Alicia Vikander and not Diane Lane.
You know who my favorite is.
But we talk about Emily Blunt fucking constantly. She's our favorite.
She would be so good.
She would be fantastic. She would be really good.
Nah, you're right though. She's also a little older.
Yeah.
And let's just omit her. So I appreciate that. I think that's a good idea that you had there. So are you going in any particular order?
No, just throwing out three options.
Okay.
I think Shailene Woodley would be good. I actually like her performance. She's got enough depth in her eyes. She's young enough. She's done the action thing with the Divergent franchise. I think she could handle it really well.
So I'm going to do the same thing that you're doing then, but I'm going to do it with someone else who I really like, but I would like her to chill the fuck out for a couple of years and then make this.
I know who you're talking about.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
J-Lo.
I don't want anyone to think about her as Hunger Games or as, what is her name in those movies again? It's like something so... Katniss
Everdeen. Yeah.
I don't want to hear about Katniss Everdeen. I don't want to talk about Jennifer Blunt and her like Silver Linings Playbook. Who directed that movie?
David O. Russell.
Yeah, and the other one that he just did with her again. Like I'm tired of her, even though I love her.
Yeah.
I think she's incredibly talented. She's beautiful, and she can pull off almost anything. But I'm sick of her. So I want to wait a couple more years, and I would love to see Jennifer Lawrence take on a spy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I like the idea of Jennifer Lawrence. So I jumped to one that is not as young, but I think she...
Kate Beckinsale.
I love Kate Beckinsale.
Too.
No, I went with Keira Knightley. And I know this is going to sound weird, and I know people are going to disagree with me, but I had a couple defenses here.
Look, we said a girl, not a 12-year-old boy.
Keira Knightley she's sort of ageless. She doesn't really age.
Is.
She still looks young. I think she can't be much older at this point than 30, 34 maybe, 36. She's probably mid-30s. Maybe she's a little older than that, but she's skinny and athletic, so I really think that if she worked with a trainer and got pretty jacked, I kind of just think she has the depth to pull this off. Domino Harvey,
my name's Domino Harvey.
That was she was too young. I sort of feel like in some ways she could pull it off better now.
I'm not opposed to that. I mean, just in the same, I bet it's weird how her and Natalie Portman are so similar.
You're right.
And they have such different career paths, but I could see either of them still doing it.
Yeah. Yep.
Got a great shout from Jonas Tiger for Rebecca Ferguson. That's true. She'd be awesome. I don't know if she can carry a full movie or a franchise yet.
Yeah.
But I definitely loved her. In that movie.
MI5.
She was so good in MI5.
Incredible. Yeah.
I am going to go with... Look, I'm going to do it. It's Alicia Vikander, okay? Look, I love her. I want to see her in her movie. I want to see a whole franchise based around her. I think she can pull it off. She's beautiful, she's smart, and she's sexy, and she's in the new one.
Very good.
Did anyone see that coming?
Oh, she is in Jason Bourne.
She is.
She's in the new one.
She's in the new one.
She's the female lead?
I don't know.
Julia Stiles is back.
Everything kind of goes black when she comes on screen.
As a shameless plug to my audience that loves...
Oh, you're going to do it.
I'm going to go with
She
Alicia.
could totally pull it.
Alicia Debnam Carey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lexa from The 100 and Alicia from Fear the Walking Dead.
Not only is she absolutely gorgeous,
Yeah.
she's awesome.
She's a badass.
She's a badass.
And when she gets into badass mode, she fully owns it.
Yeah.
Total badass.
Which is funny because mine is a total left fielder for the exact same reason.
Alicia Vikander?
It's Alicia Vikander again. It's her twin sister. It's Rooney Mara.
Oh, yeah.
She was so
good,
hardcore badass
Girl
in
Dragon
Girl
Tattoo?
with Dragon Tattoo, and so was Daniel Craig. But it's that same thing you talk about.
Yeah.
When she went full beast mode in that movie,
Yeah.
she was terrifying.
Yeah.
And that's a quality that you really got to have. And that's one that I don't know that Jennifer Lawrence can have. Is that kind of raw, 'cause again, with the Hunger Games, it's so stylized,
Yeah.
and it feels like a comic book or a superhero movie that I'm not really ever. She doesn't ever have to go crazy for
Yeah.
me, real life crazy. Rooney Mara in that movie scared me,
Yeah.
in a great way, and I think she'd be sweet as this. And she's still so young. I always forget.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
You like that one?
Yeah, I think that's solid.
I appreciate that.
All right, sweet. So 3 categories, action movies.
We've had a couple people request a Cage versus Cruise today.
On this one?
I know it's weird, but
Jesus Christ. That's Jason Bourne.
Where do you even insert a Cruise line?
Yeah,
like,
where do you...
Like, what's the iconic line that you would get Cruise? Like,
It'd be like, well, if that were true, we'd be having this conversation face to face.
I'll just let you steal that one today.
Just have those two. I know. I was trying to think. I was like, what would it?
You could just replace Nick Cage with Albert Finney.
Just get Cage really drunk.
He'll go to the training ring. That's what he knows.
That's what he knows. I'll meet him there, and I'll stall him until you're there.
I'm gonna stay right here. I'm gonna stay right here.
Oh, I don't believe you're going to take that role from me.
Enjoy your egg whites.
Okay.
Oh, we skipped favorite line. Did we skip favorite line?
Oh my god, we totally just skipped favorite line.
I mean, that's my favorite line.
Oh, it is?
Enjoy your egg whites.
Enjoy your egg whites. That's a great line.
I think it's my favorite line.
It's a really good line.
Yeah.
I remember writing that down when it happened. Mine is it's when Cruz is that guy at the end when he lets him get away.
When Cruise?
When Bourne, he's like the what are they called?
The asset.
The asset.
Edgar Ramirez.
When the asset comes up to him and he goes, "Why didn't you take the shot?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Look at him.
Look at
what they
us.
make-
Do you
yeah.
even know why? Do you even know why you're supposed to kill me?
Look at what they make you give."
Which is Clive Owen's
Which is
line from the
exactly
first one.
Clive Owen's line, and I almost called you right then.
Yeah.
But it was I don't know why I didn't.
Yeah.
But I almost called you and be like, "That is so sweet" when
Yeah.
he says that. So
That's-
that's definitely my favorite.
It's a fist
line.
pump and a favorite line.
Yeah.
I
It
totally.
was real, and it was cool. It would come complete full circle.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really great that the first 3 movies do feel like a trilogy.
Yeah, because in the first one, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Is this new young kid, Jason Bourne, he gets Clive Owen off guard and he's going to kill him. That's
Yeah.
exactly what happens here.
Yeah.
He let Ramirez go, and Ramirez is going to kill him. So cool.
That movie's sweet.
Maybe this movie's a little sweeter than I give it credit for.
All right, so there are 3 categories of action movies, guys. There are totally ridiculous movies, totally legitimate movies, and ridiculously legitimate movies. Those should be fairly self-explanatory. Movies that are totally legit are movies like Terminator 2 or The Fugitive. Movies that are totally ridiculous are like Face Off and Con Air. And movies that fall somewhere in the middle are a combination of awesome and absurd, like Predator, Point Break, or Speed. This is another one of those movies where I feel like it's just 100% legitimate. Like, there's no argument for me at all. There's not even a single laugh.
It's 100% legitimate.
This is the best Bourne movie.
Yeah. No, it is 100% completely legitimate, totally legitimate. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which means there's only one thing left to do on the show today.
We're not even doing it.
I know, I just want to do the sound.
This is called The Pitch. So this is the deal, guys. Go find us on Twitter at AMA Podcast. I'm at Ben Bateman Media, and that is at Andrew Ghai. And you should let us know your thoughts, what you want us to do on the show next week. We're taking an open forum. I mean, we mentioned a couple of the movies that people have thrown out earlier in the show.
Yeah.
And we are pretty freaking open. If it feels like it hits our rules or it feels like it hits the tone. I mean, there's everything from like The Ghost in the Darkness to like Long Kiss Goodnight or like The Raid or like even like Predator 2 or like there's just so many
You can
movies.
literally pick any movie.
True Lies, Eraser, you could pick.
I mean, if you guys have been watching the show for a while, and even if you haven't, just based off of today, we've done 54 episodes now.
Yeah.
Go back and look at what we haven't done that you miss. Like, people have been begging for us to do Roadhouse for several months.
Die Hard 2,
Get
Die
on there.
Hard 3.
Die Hard with a Vengeance. Go and vote for that.
Yeah.
That movie's so sweet.
I mean, there's just a lot of movies that we still have to do on the show that we haven't done. Anything that comes to mind you guys think is a sweet option, let us know. And we're going to choose one of those things that will come directly from the Twitter, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Donica, I'm putting you on the hot spot right now. If we could do one movie right now, what would it be?
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
There you go. Boom. On it. That was good. What is it? Are you up there?
Don't look.
You will die.
Lord Raiden.
How good of you to grace us with your presence. I dropped like Mortal Kombat references on what fucking show was that? Was that when we were in here doing Video Game Movie Anatomy? And I
Most
referenced-
likely.
Yeah, probably.
I was on something else recently, like somebody else's show, and I literally referenced Mortal Kombat live on the show like 3 times or something like that. It was just like totally unrelated and inappropriate.
Like, aren't you almost 30? Like, yeah. Does that do it for us today?
I believe so.
I think that's everything.
I think it wraps it up. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for continuing to support the show. We will be doing Bourne Supremacy leading up to the Jason Bourne film, which will be in July. So both of those will be happening. Yeah, that's pretty much the show today, guys.
Where can humans find you, Ben?
At Ben Bateman Media. Twitter, Instagram.
People, you guys can find me at Andrew Ghai on Twitter. And again, follow us, tweet at us at AMA Podcast. Let's watch your movie next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.